on who you are and what's important to you. And make no mistake, someone, somewhere, is making money off of you. Funware is a publicly traded company that's been innovating for over a decade, and we don't think that's right. It's your data, you should be in control, and you should be compensated. With FunWallet, you can engage directly with brands and earn Fun Token for simple tasks like completing surveys, watching videos, and checking out cool venues and stores. You can literally be rewarded for being you. FunWallet gives you access to deals, opportunities, exciting ways to earn Fun Token. A metaverse isn't cool. You know what is cool? The universe when it's Funware enabled. FunWallet is the future of blockchain-enabled engagement and contextual marketing. Explore a world that just got much bigger.
Here we are with Randall Crowder, the Chief Operating Officer. Randall, how are you doing today, bud?
I'm living a dream, one small nightmare at a time, but no, this is great. Anytime you do anything really innovative, I wake up every day jacked up. Like we talked about before we started, I got COVID right now, but you can't hold me down. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, just getting over that COVID. I definitely hear you. So let's go ahead and go right into it, guys. Let's talk about Funware. I want to know, what is Funware? What is Fun Token? What's Fun Wallet? What's Fun Coins? How are they all related? And can you break this down to our audience?
Yeah, it's a whole lot of fun, right? And so, you said it first, publicly traded company, but we've been around since 2009. So Funware as a company, we helped usher in mobile. So like mobile back in 2009, nobody knew what the heck that was. Everybody kind of finally figured out web. And we had a hypothesis was like the next great kind of frontier for brands and brand engagement was going to be mobile. In 2009, less than 3% of internet content was consumed on mobile. And so we bet the farm on helping brands pivot from web to mobile. And we were right. You fast forward to today, it's more like 80 to 90% all consumed on mobile, all native first. So we helped build the first NFL app, the first NASCAR app, all of Fox's mobile applications. We did the Sochi Olympics, where we set a record for the most live streams for a live streamed event. We did the presidential election in 2020. We've done hospitals, stadiums, hotels, residential buildings, you name it, we've built mobile ecosystems for it. And so all of what we did, we decided to turn into software as a service. So we want to license mobile software the same way you would license Ethereum from Salesforce. So now companies can standardize on our mobile platform, which gives them all sorts of new features. And that's what led us to blockchain. So like our features are all designed around engagement, contextual engagement. So we're not looking at like binge watching Netflix. I'm looking at how do I turn this into a mobile concierge? How do I take all the information in the virtual world, curate it, serve it up to inform your real world experiences? So how do I get the right information to the right customer on the right screen at the right time in the right place in order to drive productivity or drive profitability? And so with Fun Token, we wanted to actually incentivize that engagement. If every time you click something, share something, like something, do something that's valuable to a brand, they might be willing to pay you to do those things. Let's figure out how to blockchain enable that entire paradigm. Then as you do that, as you engage with people, as you click things and do things and go places, all of that is generating data. As we all know, data is now the most valuable asset on the planet. Somebody's making money off your data, just not you. And so with FunCoin, we wanted to actually capture the value of data. So you got the value of engagement with Fun Token, that's kind of the picks and shovels, right? And then you got FunCoin, which is the value of data, that's the gold mine. You got a utility token, its sister token is a security token, and then FunWallet manages the whole thing. That's the center of gravity for us. You can download it on iOS and Android. And so we're really trying to take all of these different components of what we've built and really commercialize a decentralized data economy. It's a big swing for the fences, but there's a huge opportunity out there for anybody that can do it.
Wow, that sounds exciting. I've actually been talking with a few other projects. I've done some research, and there's a few similar projects out there. They're kind of working on the same thing. They're really advocates. Definitely being here at DAPP Center, we talk about DAPPS all the time, where they're really talking about giving data to the user, and your user the data belongs to the user, and they should be monetizing off of that and not some third party. So what makes Fun Token so special compared to everything else out there in the market?
Yeah, one, I mean, we said it at the beginning, it's a publicly traded company. I think, you can hear it even in the way we talk about it. One, I will commend you for DF Center. The world doesn't need another protocol coin. Everybody talks about protocol coins. There's plenty that can do everything that we need them to do. We need real world utility. We need people out there working with real brands, figuring out how to make lives better. And that's where we come into play. We've been working with Fortune 500 businesses for over a decade. We're not a project, we're a company, and we actually have features that require blockchain in order to deliver the value to the customers that we already have. Everybody else is just white papers, smoke and mirrors. They pretend like they're companies, but the minute it gets hard, they're gone. I mean, most people won't survive this crypto winter. Most of them didn't survive 2017. And so what ends up happening is you have a bunch of people who are fly-by-night entrepreneurs. They either cash out or flame out, and they never actually deliver anything that you can see in the real world. We're actually working with real customers, and we can't scam you. We can't rug pull you. We're accountable to our shareholders. We're easy to find. Our entire team is easy to find, and we have the resources behind what we're doing to actually make this a reality, and we're not tied to any one bull or bear market. So that's what I think people really need to understand. It happened in the dot-com boom. It's happening in crypto. I don't think we've even hit the big crash yet, to be honest. I still think we're in the 90s. But what's going to happen is you're going to see eventually a flight to credibility and accountability. You're going to see people getting tired of people hiding behind avatars, people tired of not understanding what in the world any of this is actually meant to do, tired of the promises that are never realized. And they're going to look for companies like Funware where you're like, all right, look, it might take a while, and we might not always get it right, but they're not going anywhere. And so what we have is, over 100 employees, over 50 of those are engineers. We have the resources to make this a reality, but we have the customers already in our portfolio that are looking for these extensions of the platform. And so take, for example, healthcare. It's one of our largest industries. Funware, one of the best things we have that's a competitive advantage besides our ability to actually license mobile software to engage consumers is location software. So we beat Google for Kaiser Permanente's business because of our location software. We beat 4 other vendors to do it on a cruise ship when nobody thought it was possible. And what I'm talking about is triangulating a mobile device inside a building. The same way we use satellites and GPS outdoors, we can do that indoors. Sub-1 meter accuracy, sub-1 second latency. So when you're talking about engagement, it doesn't really help you to engage something if you can't find it. But once you find it and you can engage it, now we're talking. That's that contextuality to make it personal and relevant. So with Fun Token, with healthcare, for example, it's a $150 billion a year problem, people being late to their appointments or missing their appointments altogether. So every hospital on every hospital on the planet, their executives are trying to solve this. So with us, they can actually use Fun Token, white label it. They can actually rebrand it because of the way we've architected it. They can actually white label it within their own application, incentivize people to show up on time to their doctor's appointments, and then they can actually, convert that into something. They can actually, buy a coffee, do something with it, earn points. So it's basically no different than airline miles, but you're getting awards for doing something that actually benefits the brand. And so I think that's the real key differentiator here is we already have a core group of customers and features that are already designed for engagement. So now with Fun Token, we're just incentivizing that engagement. We might want to incentivize somebody to refer a friend. We just launched at Atlantis down in the Bahamas. And so you have a massive hospitality brand, 140-acre island in and of itself in the Bahamas. They have all sorts of things they want to incentivize people to do. And so hopefully we'll be able to use Fun Token to begin incentivizing people to do things within, kind of different hospitality brands, different healthcare brands. And I think that puts us in a league of our own.
So you're saying this Fun Token is kind of like a loyalty program. It's like earning rewards and so forth. Is that the only way you could get the Fun Tokens, or are there other ways you could get it as well?
Yeah, so there's both. So if you download Funware right now, you'll see what we kind of view as an MVP. And so anytime you think of like engagement, it could be a rewarded survey. It could be asking you a question. Hey, are you interested in buying a car today? It could be rewarded points of interest. Like I said, hey, go here, do this, be here by this time. It could be actions that are profitable, like I really want you to check that bag and stop trying to shove it into overhead storage and slowing down our turns on airplanes. It could be referring friends, doing things like that. So you can go into FunWallet and see the rewarded survey construct right now, where you're just kind of answering questions. Do you like vodka or tequila? That's how we figure out how to segment you. And so that's how we curate your data to make it valuable to a brand. You know, they don't want just raw data, and they don't even need to know who you are. It's not about figuring out your social security number. We can deliver you very good contextual brand engagement based on just your audience segmentation. So we use a knowledge graph to handle all of this data. One of the early hypotheses of the company was, could we create a Phunware ID for every human being on the planet with a mobile device touching a network? We've actually generated over 15 billion Phunware IDs so far, so massive scale. Now the question is, okay, how do we turn that data back over to the consumer? How do we give you control over that? And so you'll be able to curate your own data and earn Fun Token, but then you'll also be able to engage with brands and earn Fun Token for that. Now, again, like I said, the cool thing about that is, and how we kind of cross that chasm for mainstream adoption, is you may earn it and never even know it's Fun Token. So we deliver all of our features and capabilities through software development kits or application program interfaces, so SDKs or APIs. That means we can integrate our technology into a third-party mobile application. So let's say you're on a cruise and you're using the cruise's app. Our software might be in that app, and we could actually rebrand it in the app as Cruise Coin. And so you could be like, I've never even talked about crypto. I've never created a seed phrase. I don't know anything about it. But you could be watching a video, learning about excursions, or doing something, sharing some information, or buying a ticket or doing something that they want to reward you for. And all of a sudden you start earning this Cruise Coin. You're like, what's this all about? Well, you'll be able to get sent to FunWallet to take custody of that. And that's how we begin to start to acquire customers in the mainstream who maybe aren't familiar with the complexity of crypto. And that's going to be a very unique way for us to scale and grow from here.
Yeah, I definitely think that I agree. A lot of the tokenomics and the complicated things in crypto kind of tears a lot of people away, and I think this is definitely a very good idea to try to get more users in, making it easy and simple to use.
Yeah.
Well, going into the more complex details, let's talk about the tokenomics. So what is the total supply of the Fun token? Which blockchain is it on, etc.?
Yeah. So Ethereum, because we're a public company, because compliance is so important to us, it's all, it's very gray, it's very ambiguous, but there are some kind of general rules of, hey, what should you do? What should you not do? The big one that everybody's focused on, and I think the SEC will focus on for the most part, is raising money. If you went out and you didn't have anything, you didn't have squat, and you end up selling a bunch of tokens in order to take that money and then go build something, it's probably security. That's, the real kind of, there's a couple other things you always hear about, the Howey test and a lot of these other things, but, some of this, when you start talking about it from like a public company perspective like us, compliance is going to be key. And Ethereum, is just tried and true. And so a lot of the things that we need to control, a lot of the platforms that we need to integrate with, and a lot of the support in the broader market, Ethereum is just far and away the leader. Now, do they, I hate gas fees. Lord knows I hate them. I hope we solve for that soon. We're doing a couple bridges to Poly and a few others. We've explored a couple other chains, actually, even before we launched, and quite frankly, even some of the big ones, and I won't name them to protect the innocent, it's impossible to work with them. I mean, you start talking to kind of, their business development people have no retention. They cycle over. They're not a real company. They're really big, but they're not going about it in a really, pragmatic way. And so Ethereum was just kind of best in class for what we needed to do. 10 billion max supply, can't grow anymore. Very limited circulating supply right now because we're still effectively in a soft launch. We didn't sell anything prior to actually building it. We did it the reverse. We did it the way everybody should do it. We spent our own money to build the first MVP. We spent our own money to do everything. And so like most people would go out and say they had this token, do a bunch of work, have a roadmap, and 2 years later they'd have a mobile app, and that would be their big windfall. Like, look at us, we did it. It's like, well, we did that first. And so we've been building out all the back-end infrastructure to support our ecosystem, and we're just now slowly beginning to roll this stuff out.
That's awesome. So yeah, so with the Fun token, you mentioned securities. So would the Fun token be considered a security at all at this point? I mean, it's more looking like it's more used for utilization than it would be for raising money. But do you still have? Is there still maybe some questions there with the SEC? Have you guys talked openly about the SEC with this?
Yeah, I mean, being public, we have to be, we have to kind of report, and we have reported financials. The SEC won't ever, approve you or not approve you. The most they've ever gone is like no action letters and people kind of going through that process. Very few have kind of gone through that process. And so, we truly believe it's a utility token. We have an internal kind of compliance memorandum that we work on with our attorneys to kind of walk through why we think there's utility there. The utility for us is obvious because if you think about what's actually happening when you're earning the rewards, you're using Fun Token to purchase the features of our system, just like you would use, the jet token to purchase the seat on a jet. That token doesn't actually fly the jet. It's not really utilized by, the combustion engine in that jet. What we're doing is actually paying for the features and capabilities of our MaaS. It's called MaaS, our MaaS platform. So our enterprise cloud platform has all of our features. You pay for those in Fun tokens. Let's go back to that rewarded survey example. That rewarded survey example, and we'll use fiat dollars to keep it simple, it might cost a quarter, but it'll be a quarter in Fun token, right? So it might cost a quarter. We might take so that a brand would buy that for a quarter. We want to buy this feature, this engagement, because we want to deliver it to our customers. Now, they'll be doing thousands of these, but let's say a quarter per. Now, the consumer will get 20 for actually engaging with that actual piece of content. We'll get 5 cents for the actual fee for providing it. And so you're going to be paying for our features to engage consumers, but consumers are going to be cut in on the deal. That's the change. Right now, everyone's transacting without the consumer in mind. It's just like you get patted on the head. Here's your pictures, here's your tweets. Go buy. Just stay out of the way and don't cause any trouble. We're like, well, that's silly. Every time you engage, there's a monetary exchange there. Let's cut the consumer in on it. And what's powerful about that is people know they're being tracked. People know their data is being exploited. But if you put people in the driver's seat and you give them transparency and control, they'll actually create better data. I'll tell you what I want. People love to buy, they hate to be sold. And a lot of times, you're still selling me after I'm not interested. I was in the Army for a long time. I still get advertisements from the Navy. I'm like, why are you sending me this? Like, I'm not your target audience. You're wasting your money. And so I think we can fix that. And Bitcoin proved it, right? Bitcoin was silly at first. No one thought it was possible. And then all of a sudden, people realized, holy crap, you actually don't need a bank in the middle. Now, is that going to change the entire world? Are we going to get rid of banks forever? No. The man has been the man for a long time, and the man will be the man long after Bitcoin is ubiquitous. So it'll always have its role, but Bitcoin will have its role as well. The same thing will happen in data. Are we going to get rid of credit agencies? No. Are we going to get rid of Facebook or Google? No. But brands are not loyal to these third-party intermediaries. They're just the only game in town. And what happens when there's the only game in town? Someone says there's got to be a better way, and then they do it. And then it's not till years later that everyone goes, oh, yeah, it was so obvious. Well, you know what? Everyone thought Bezos was stupid until 10 years after building an unbeatable competitive advantage for an on-demand economy that he saw coming that no one else did. Then everyone's like, oh, wow, genius. It's like, yeah, well, sometimes you got to start somewhere. So we're starting here to really do what Bitcoin did for finance, to do that for data.
That's awesome. So a lot of people are worried about getting rugged in their investments and so forth. How can you instill this confidence in potential investors for, let's say the Fun token or for Funware in general?
Yeah, investors.funware.com. And if any other thing that they're investing in has an investors.blank.com, let me know, because I bet we're the only one. Because as far as I know, we're the only public company doing this. And that matters. You can find out everything you want to know about us, our entire team, all of our reported financials, all the things that we've actually said to the SEC. So, we cannot lie. People end up in orange jumpsuits lying. And so, there's a lot of these things. I cringe every time I see these avatars, and you look for the founders of Crypto Project X. and they're like unknown, but there's trading millions, if tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, and you're like, really? Come on. And so, I think at some point, people need to stand up and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, and at the end of the day, you may not actually be successful, but you should own what you're doing, and you should own who you are and why you're doing it. And I think that's what we do very well. We stand front and center behind what we're doing. We put our own money into this. We put our own time into this. We have more to lose than anybody else. We've put our own individual money more so than anyone else has. And so, we're here to make this a resounding success for sure. And we can't really rug pull anybody. We'll end up in jail.
Yeah, I hear you. Transparency is very important. It's really exciting to hear that, guys. So which countries are going to be able to support this? Or is this going to be worldwide, or is this going to only be in the United States? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it's already worldwide. We've seen a great response in Korea. Again, we're kind of, this is ground level stuff, which I love that. You always hear about things after they're already successful, and you're like, God, I wish I would have known back then. There'll be a couple years from now where someone will say, man, I heard them talking with Nero. Like I should have gotten involved. And we're saying, like, look, I'm telling you now, do it. We don't look like everybody else, and we, I think that's going to be a positive thing, and it's going to be a very beneficial thing for us long term. But yeah, our enterprise software has been used all over the world, and so any extension of our platform can certainly be used anywhere in the world. Can't have, obviously, the countries that are on the naughty list. You can't get it there. There's certain countries where having the app, being able to download it from the App Store, that's an Apple or from the Play Store, that's a Google thing. And so where the app is not supported, obviously we can't do anything about that. But certainly, we want this to be as ubiquitous as possible for consumers all over the world.
Okay. So what about the token? Is the Phun token listed on any exchanges right now? Is there any plans on listed on exchanges?
Yeah, so what's funny, and this is the beauty of it, and it's like, I think a lot of people, have jumped into crypto. Thank you for what you're doing and just educating people, because I want people to understand this. I spent over a decade as a venture capitalist, and I used to always talk to investors and a lot of angels too, because we would syndicate deals, and I wanted them to get smarter, because the smarter you get, not only the more value you can provide, but the more entrenched you are in kind of what you're doing. And it's really one of those things where I want people to get smart, and I want people to get educated, and I think it's people that are just watching, whether it's stock twits or something else, and just kind of regurgitating what other people are doing. I think they're gonna miss out. And so we're trying to make this as easy for people as possible. So if you go to like funtoken.com, you can see a bunch of resources, even around staking and like LP tokens and how do you provide liquidity. We do like a step-by-step guide for all of that, because I think it's important to take the guesswork out of it. But a lot of people don't realize when you list, it's the idea of decentralization is we're not listing that. People listed that. And so because it's an ERC20 token, because it's Ethereum, that was not like a company event where we went out and listed it. The cool thing about decentralization is the people have the power. So it did show up on Uniswap. So you can swap for Phun token right now. What we can control is when there's a centralized exchange that does everything right, when they can KYC people and they can ensure that there's a certain compliance in place, we can put it out on those exchanges. So Law Token is the first one that we're just kind of testing that with. That should be available. We did a kind of a small IEO just to test the rails on it, but that'll be actually listed here probably by early next week, so maybe as early as Monday. And that'll be the first, centralized exchange that we kind of show up on. And then, we're going to kind of just work with them as we go and start adding where we can to get more exposure. And that'll help us, further decentralize it. I think certain geographies only work with certain, the people just kind of flock to certain exchanges. So Law Token has a really good presence in India. And so these are going to be good kind of vessels for us to get that more worldwide exposure.
That's nice. Well, guys, all the information about Funware and the Phun token will be listed down in the description. I'll have links there to the website and to their socials. Next step, we're going to be going into the questionnaires that I have pulling from Twitter, from StockTwits, and from our live chats. So let's go ahead and take a look at those here. We will be concluding our AMA here in about 15 minutes. So if you guys do have any questions, please ask them now here in the live chat, so that way we could get them going. Let me pull it up here. Okay, this is the first one. This was from StockTwits. Says, it would be helpful to get a brief on what companies are in line to use the branded fund tokens, such as Amazon, Tesla, or Alibaba, etc. And when will that start rolling out? What will they be doing for the World Cup? How many political candidates have signed up for the campaign nucleus so far?
Yeah, it's a great question, and this is I always feel bad because I think a lot of people, since we are the only public company doing this, a lot of people, will have a handful. Hopefully people are diversified and they have a handful of things that they're looking at and they're engaging it and they're asking similar questions to similar projects in some companies. Unfortunately, we can't answer in the same way that everyone else does. So there's something called, and I really encourage everybody to look at this because it'll help you be more patient with us. I want to tell you everything, and my lawyers hate me because I probably talk more than I should. We are on Telegram all the time. We're on Twitter all the time. I used to be on StockTwits until it annoyed me to no end, and so I'm less on StockTwits. I apologize. Maybe I'll come back. But we're easy to find, and me and Alan, we talk about this stuff all the time, and we try to be as transparent as possible. I don't know how many public company executives are having one-on-one conversations in Telegram with people as much as we do on a daily basis. But there's something called regulation fair disclosure. And so when you're a public company, any material information, you can't just answer a question, in a tweet. You can't just tell, Nero and not anyone else. You can't tell your mom and not somebody else. So you'll see us release press releases, and that's to actually check that box on Reg FD. When you have that press release, what has to happen before that is usually contract law. And so you sign up, for, a lot of people don't know this. We did Fox's mobile application for years. And we were all of Fox's, for like over 5 years, we were doing all of Fox's mobile applications. They refused to allow us to talk about it. Like, they were like, absolutely not. And so, there's a lot of, confidentiality in terms of what we do. But we are working hard with the actual marketing and legal teams of every brand that we're working with in order to disclose as much as we can. And so, just monitor that investors.funware.com. When it shows up there, that's when we can talk about it. And so I will, I'm on it. For us, again, being a public company, understand, I want to tell you because that's going to help our stock price. And so if I can't tell you, there's a reason.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of legalities when it comes to being publicly traded. Let's see here. Next question. Let's pull it up here. So who's your inspiration in doing this project? What inspired you guys to get involved in doing this?
You know what? It was our customers. I'll give the credit. So she actually sits on our board now. We have been interested in how we can. We started with the idea of Phuncoin first. So how do we kind of do this thing around data? The engagement came second, and it actually came riffing with Kathy Mayer, who is now on our board, but she was the former CDO and CMO of Carnival. And she comes from the gaming industry, and she was literally talking about this idea of incentivized engagement. Because we could use our existing platform to help, cruise lines, do things like sell excursions. And we were actually talking to her about, like, when does she sell the most excursions? Because that will help drive profitability, because every ship is a sunk cost. So, well, I sell most of my excursions the day the ship is leaving port. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That's like trying to sell alcohol when you land at McCarran in Vegas. That's an easy sell. Everybody wants alcohol when you land. And so, when you're leaving, though, we could actually introduce infomercial-like capability at that point of sale. So while you're waiting to board the ship, we send you a push notification through the app. Hey, watch this video on all the amazing excursions you'll be able to enjoy. And she, coming from the gaming industry, started saying, you know what? If I know my conversion metrics, I might be willing to pay people to watch that video. And that really was the inspiration to this idea of, like, what else would brands be willing to pay people for? Pay you to show up on time, pay you to go here, pay you to do this. We're actually working on something really cool right now where
if you think about like what Google did with AdWords, it's now called Google Ads, but this was the idea of, okay, there's PCs everywhere. That's going to be the medium for brands to engage consumers. Well, now nobody clicks on banner ads. Nobody really cares about advertising anymore. But we have a mobile first world that's quickly becoming mobile only. I like the idea, and what we're trying to work on is almost like ad sonar. Like at 11:30, if I'm downtown at my office and I want to eat lunch, what's it worth to the brands around me? I'm a walking payday. But in that moment, that's the moment when you need to reach me. Don't try to brainwash me all day so that I think about you when I'm interested in buying. I'll ping you like a sonar and say, hey, who's around me right now that wants me to come eat lunch with them? Or if it's Saturday night, I'm going out for dinner. Like everything right now is dependent on you. You've got to go in and say, hey Siri, what should I, what's good tonight? Or hey Siri, where's a good, Tex-Mex place? Or hey Siri, what's a good Italian place? We want to usher in a world where it's actually Siri contacting you and saying, hey Nero, check this out. And it just feels like it's natural, it's experiential, it's contextual. That's the system that we're building so that all of this engagement is actually driven by the brand and it's personally relevant to you.
Awesome. That's awesome. Let's see here. We got another question here. Is it? We won't ask that one. That didn't seem appropriate.
They get rowdy.
Yeah, they do get a little bit rowdy here when you're live here on the internet. Here's the one I got. What about the question on coin market cap? Is Phun token listed on coin market cap? Is there any plans on that being listed here in the near future?
Yeah, that's in process. That should be here, imminently, I would imagine. That's in process right now.
Okay, awesome. What about staking? Are you able to? Is there going to be staking features for the Phun token?
Yeah, right now, so we have staking for liquidity providers, and now we're looking at building out the contract. So if you go to funtoken.com and you click on kind of a rewards button at the top, you can go through that. How do you stake for liquidity? There'll be another. We even have a staking calculator. There'll be a mirror to that for just kind of one-sided staking. So if you just kind of want to collect and stake and earn, we'll also offer that. So that's probably by the end of the summer.
Gotcha. Okay. That is good. Let's see. The wallet, are you able to download the app right now? It's available on Google and App Store, right?
Yep, that's right. So Phun Wallet, available on iOS and Android.
Awesome. Okay. We're going to see. We got another question. Pulling it up here. So, what would you classify this token as? Would it be considered like a play to earn, utility? Like, what would you classify it as? What kind of token?
It's a great question, and I think we haven't done ourselves any favors. We were just talking about this. We did an entire workshop a couple weeks ago at our office. So we have headquartered in Austin. We have an office in San Diego, office in Newport Beach, and office in Miami. So good places to work in case anybody's really dialed in and a badass and wants a job. Let me know. But in San Diego, we did a great blockchain workshop, and loyalty is a myth. We're not a beer money app. We're not building a play to earn app. We're not building something that's just supposed to be like silly little things where you can earn a couple bucks a day, and that's not interesting to us. What we're trying to do is recreate this idea of one-to-one engagement. And so if you think about it, like, what are you worth if you're like, hey, I've got $65,000 in the bank and I'm buying a car, and you're sitting in like a Lexus dealership? What are you worth to BMW in that moment? You're not just the data that Facebook tries to convince you of. Like, Facebook tries to confuse everybody about this, and they'll take all the money they ever make, divide it by all the users they have, and say, well, if we gave everybody their worth in data, you'd earn $5 a month. That's not accurate. That's disingenuous. And so what I really like thinking about this is, like I mentioned, is a new version of Google Ads. This idea of trying to create new rails for brands to engage consumers contextually so that there's purchase intent tied to who you are, where you are, what's important to you. And I think that changes what that engagement opportunity is worth. It changes what your data is worth. It changes what your awareness is worth. My awareness for something, for Subway is irrelevant. You're probably getting, they're getting 10 cents, a click if I'm paying attention to some Subway app after I play Words with Friends. But my $150, restaurant tab on Saturday night, localized within 3 blocks of me, that's not worth 10 cents. And you could get me to go somewhere else probably, but what's it worth to you? There's just no real good mechanism created to be able to deliver that. And that's what we're working to do. I think that's the future of how brands will engage consumers.
That's awesome. Very exciting project. I'm looking through the comments here. It looks like I'm not seeing any other, let's see, can you tell me, guys, we got a few minutes here left. If you have any other questions that we have not answered already, please ask them now or never. We got a few minutes left. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about or say, Randall, while we still got you here?
No, I'd like to say thank you. A lot of people, this is a hard industry to be in. It's unforgiving. People get, they really enjoy the anonymous, hating online. We can take it. Give it to us. Give us the feedback too. I would really encourage people to be constructive. Think about the things that you wish we could do. Think about the bugs that you see. Think about the issues we have. We want that feedback from the community. We want you to be a part of this process. We're just getting started. We haven't even begun really marketing this. And so for us, yes, you can throw stones at us. We have thick skin. I've been shot at, blown up, stabbed. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm not, yelling at me on Twitter is not going to really move the needle. But if you think of really good ideas, if you think of ways we can be better, I'm all ears. And Alan's all ears. The whole team's all ears. Go on Telegram, follow the links, below. Really reach out to us. But at the end of this, I really just want to thank you. I appreciate you spreading the word on what's going on in this industry, for not disappearing when things get hard, and really continuing to educate people. So thank you for the role you're playing. I encourage everybody to follow you, and I'm sure I'd love to be able to talk again, and we'll do a follow-up here pretty soon when we announce some bigger brands.
I'm looking forward to it. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Randall, for being on our channel. I really appreciate the recognition. I also want to thank all our viewers for being here today. Thank you for giving us some time to listen to us and hear what we have to say. So, guys, if you have, like I said, do your research. You guys can find all the links to their socials and to the websites down in the description. Thank you guys all for tuning here today. I'm going to check here one more time. If we have any last minute questions, we will ask. Otherwise, we're going to be getting off here. Let's see. Please. Do you guys have a I know you have a Twitter. Do you guys have a Discord?
Yeah. Twitter, Discord, Telegram. We'll make sure you have all the links. Follow us on all of them. Yeah.
We will have the links. Yeah, we will have links on all of their Discord, Telegram, Twitter. All of it will be in the description. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you. Thank you, Randall, very much for your time. We look forward. I'm definitely very excited here to see the future of your project. So thank you for being here.
Thanks a bunch. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.